So I'm gonna go ahead and knock out this last chapter, chapter 25, for becoming the woman of his dreams. It's in the same section of encouraging our husbands, so I might sound repetitive, but the chapter was titled Chief Cheerleader or Chief Critic. And they shared two stories. Those stories were pretty interesting about the husbands pursuing writing, and one of them was not encouraged at all by his wife. In fact, made to feel that she must be embarrassed by him or embarrassed of his failure or possible failure. And then the other ended up being the story of the author of the Scarlet Letter. And it was because of his wife's encouragement and support that he was able to succeed in that. And it is very true. They mentioned here, behind every great man, there's a supportive woman. It's true. It's true. We can hold back our husbands and we can help them be great. I thought it was really funny. A little story about a governor and his wife rolling past some construction workers, and one of the construction workers was her high school boyfriend, and he said, "Look, you would have been married to a construction worker." And she said, "Nope, if I would have married him, he would have been a governor." Because the point was, the wife can make her husband great, and I think that's really cool. So it was really stories, yeah, just 3 stories, and then a few quotes from husbands, which are throughout the book. One of them really spoke to me. Was it the admiration? It was really, I could identify a lot with it because my husband's a dreamer. And we joke about it all the time, that he's the hot air balloon and I'm the sandbag pulling the hot air balloon down. That's an exaggeration. He has definitely leveled out his dreams and he's more practical now. And I'm sure I have a lot to do with that. And I have definitely learned to dream more freely with him and not be so practical and so only willing to talk about reality. And that's, I'm sure, because he's helped me with that. So, 13 years married, we're going to learn from each other and get better in those areas. But it was hard for me in the beginning to be married to a dreamer. And I actually made a video called Being Married to a Dreamer because I'm not a dreamer. I am very, very practical. I want to know what I could do right now, what we can start tomorrow, what is realistic, what is practical. And so being married, I want to talk about real things, like let's do that. But being married to a dreamer, everything's a what if this, what if that. And the way I think, don't realize that when they're talking, they know it's not going to happen. It's just fun to talk about it. And I'm like, why is this fun? I don't understand why it's fun to talk about things that won't happen. I want to talk about things that will happen or things that we can work towards, So once I learned that was the first step to, okay, we just want to talk about stuff we know is not going to happen, so I don't have to stress when I hear you saying you want to start this thousands and thousands of dollars worth of hobbies. It's just fun to talk about what if it's not you're actually going to go do it, so I can relax and talk about it with you because it's hilarious. It's hilarious how every other week it's something new, but nothing really happens. It's just their way of entertainment. So I learned that probably later than I wish I would have in my marriage. And it was just good to read this and just good reminders of dream with your husband. Don't just say that's nice, honey. Dream with him. Add to the dream and add to it, add to the conversation. And I definitely was convicted with the first story of the unsupportive wife. I feel like early in my marriage, I can think of one instance where I know that I discouraged my husband from doing something that he was really excited about. And I know that the source of it was I was scared to be embarrassed if he failed. I think that's what he told his daughter. Maybe she was maybe she'd be embarrassed if I failed or something like that. Where was that? And I'm talking the first year of my marriage. Which you learn from those experiences. I've never brought it up again because I'm hopeful that he has forgotten about it. But I hope that he's forgotten about it. But so I don't want to bring it up and bring it back to his mind. But at the same time, obviously my actions have proven that I have changed. But I would love to talk about it sometimes too. Just to, tell him how wrong I thought I was. But again, that was 12 years ago. Now I strive to support him and encourage him and believe in him and be his cheerleader, not his critic. However, I think we fall into that critic role unintentionally often because, man, it is hard to be consistently acknowledging and working on making sure your husband knows you admire him and believe in him and think he's capable. And it's hard work. You have to be so intentional about it. And so it's easy to fall off. And if that's not a habitual thing that you've put in your life, So then the last thing in the chapter is just things to never say to your spouse and things that your husband longs to hear. And definitely review the things never to say to your spouse because you might say these things and not realize how much it's affecting them. And I mean, I bet one of those things is worth 6 of the other, like I said before, it is faster to tear down than to build up. So for every wrong thing you say, you need, 10 or 15 to fix that problem. So focus on the things that your husband longs to hear, and maybe some of these will stick out to you as something that would be natural and true for you to say, and I mean, seriously, it is like the tiniest ways that we can show admiration and appreciation. They take it and run with it. It is like what they're wanting and longing for, to be admired by you, for them to know you think they're so awesome and so cool and so smart and so strong, and they want that. And it really is true. They're like little boys. It's so interesting. It's so interesting to me. I was just sharing with a friend the other day that my husband read me an email that he wrote to somebody at work about some things that happened at work, and he wanted to explain the situation to me. He had a lunch break and Daddy came home and we ate. But I know exactly where I left off. I was talking about me complimenting my husband's email. So he was trying to tell me the situation at work, but I said something like, okay, I hear it, but man, that was a well-written email. And I saw his entire demeanor change. Little tiny things like that, can really go a long way with our husbands. So the last thing I wanted to share or talk about was the things that our husbands long to hear, that list. Some of them sound a little cheesy, but if you put your own spin on it and it's natural to you to say it, then it's fine. I just think it's a book, so it's funny to laugh at some of them. But some of the ones that really stick out to me with my own spin on it, number 2, if I had to do it all over again, I'd marry you. Probably wouldn't say it just like that, but maybe I'm so glad I married you, or I'm so glad you're my husband. I miss you. I missed you today. I've been thinking about you all day. What can I do for you today? How can I pray for you? Thank you for working so hard for our family. I think I say that probably more than anything, because I'm so happy with my life, and I know that I would not have this privilege of my husband. First of all, wasn't the same mindset as me with keep letting me be home, but also work so hard to provide for us. Careful, you're pulling my hair. Be careful. You're still pulling it. Careful. You look so handsome in that shirt. I say that a lot too. You look nice today. So Yeah, look over the list and make it a point to tell your husband something kind at least once a day, every day. I'm excited to move on to the next section, and I'll do that as soon as I can.